Okay, so let's have a look at the Leaving Certificate Higher Level Maths Paper 2 for 2019, question 6. This is a probability question, so we have two independent events, F and S. They're represented by this Venn diagram here. And we're given certain information here, but all the information is in the Venn diagram. We're told that the probability of F less S is a quarter, so that's everything in F. We'll take out S, so that's just this part here, which is a quarter. The probability of F intersection S, the intersection here, is 1/5, we're given that here. And the probability of S less F, so everything in S but take out F, is X, so we're given that here. The probability of F union S complement is Y, so that's everything outside F and S, so that's Y. X and Y are not 0, and we've got to find the values of X and Y. Well, what we're going to do here is find the value of X first, and once we have X, we can just add up these three terms here, subtract from 1, and that will give us Y. So they've highlighted here in bold the word independent, so that's important. The fact that F and S are independent is important, and you can write down, because they're independent, the probability of F intersection S is the probability of, sorry, that's let me just go back a little bit, that's F, not a P, so that's an F here. Probability of F intersection S is the probability of F times the probability of S. So that's really your definition of independence. Now the probability of F intersection S here we can see is 1/5, so we can put 1/5 in here. The probability of F is everything in this circle here, so it's a quarter plus 1/5. The probability of S is the same, but for the circle S, so we've got to add 1/5 plus X. So we end up with an equation here with just X in it, so we can isolate the X. So let's just do these this bit on the right here. Now we've got to add a quarter plus 1/5. You can do that on your calculator, but let's do it manually. Common denominator is 20. 4 into 20 is 5. 5 times 1, 5. 5 into 24. 4 times 1, 4. Over here we've got another couple of fractions that we need to add. Common denominator 5. 5 into 5, 1. 1 times 1, 1. 1 into 5, 5. 5 times X, 5X. Okay, so next line then we have 1/5 is equal to, let me just do that properly, 1/5 here is equal to 5 and 4, 9 over 20 times 1 plus 5x over 5. Next line then we have 1/5 is equal to, multiply top by top, bottom by bottom, 9 times 1, 9, 9 times 5, 45 x. 5 times 20, 100. Okay, so what we're going to do next is just multiply left and right by 5 times 100, or 500. Or because we have a fraction equal to a fraction, you can just cross multiply. It's the same thing. Top times bottom, which is 1 times 100, which is 100, is equal to bottom times top, which is 5 times 9 plus 45x. 5 nines, 45. 5 times 45 is 225. Let's see, let me just double check that. 5 5 is 25, 5 is 20, yeah, 225, 225x. Okay, so bring over the 45, subtract 45 from both sides. 55 on this side, 225x on this side, divide by 225, so it's 55 divided by 225, and that gives me x. And that should simplify for me to x is equal to 11 over, we've got to divide by 5, so that's 40, 25, 45. So it's 11 over 45. So we know what x is. X is 11 over 45. So we just come back up here again, and let me just put that in. X is equal to 11 over 45. So what I've got to do now is just add up, I'll do it here, add up these three, subtract from 1, and that should give me y. So y is just going to be equal to 1 minus a quarter plus 1 over 5 plus 11 over 45, and when you work that out you will get y is equal to 11 over 36. So there are two answers really. We're just asked to find what find the values of x and the value of y, the value of x and the value of y. So y is 11 over 36, x is 11 over 45. So there are two answers. That's it for part A. Okay, so let's have a look at part B then. Part B is where we have a club, and in that club there are German, Irish and Spanish children. Let me just write that down. German, Irish and Spanish children. There are 10 Spanish children. So there are 10 Spanish children here. There are twice as many Irish children as German children. So there are twice as many Irish as German. We're not told how many German or Irish children, just that there are twice as many Irish as German children. So let's put an x in here and a 2x here. So that would give me x number of German children and twice as many 2x Irish children. Now they are all in a group waiting to get on a swing. One child will be selected at random to go first and will not rejoin the group, so that's important. Now then a second child will be selected at random to go next. Okay, so the probability that the first child selected will be random and the second child selected will not be German is 1/6. So this is where we're going to get our equation from, this line here. Find how many children are in the club. So let's write down our probabilities first. The probability that the first child selected will be German. So we want the probability that the first child is German. First child is German. Now, what's the probability of selecting a child at random and that child will be German? Well, the number of German children is x over, then the total number of children is going to be x plus 2x plus 10. So that's just simply x over 3x plus 10. Okay, second part of this is that the second child is not German. Now this is given that the first child is not replaced. First child doesn't rejoin the group. So the number of non-German children remains the same because we've picked a German child first. So the number of Irish and Spanish children remains the same. So the number on the top of the fraction here is just going to be 2x plus 10. On the bottom now, we've got to put in the total number of children. The total number of children at this stage is, remember we've taken out one German child and that child hasn't rejoined the group. So there are x minus 1 German children. There are 2x Irish children and 10 Spanish children. So this is the probability that the second child is not German. So let's do that. 2x plus 10 here. And on the bottom we've got an x plus a 2x, so that's 3x. We've got a minus 1 plus 10, so that's plus 9. Okay, so we have our two probabilities given in this part of the question here, in this sentence here. We're told that the probability of the first child selected will be German and the second child will not be German is 1/6. So in other words, when we multiply these two fractions here, we should get 1/6. That'll allow us work out what x is. So in other words, x over 3x plus 10 multiplied by 2x plus 10 over 3x plus 9, that should give me 1/6. Okay, so let's work all this out. Now we got to multiply the top by the top and the bottom by the bottom here, so we've got x times 2x, so that's 2x squared, x times 10, 10x. On the bottom here we got 3x times 3x, so that's 9x squared, 3x times 9, 3 9's 27x. We got 10 times 3x, so that's 30, that's 30x. And then finally we got 9 times 10, which is 90, and that's 1/6 on the right hand side. Top remains the same, so we got 2x squared plus 10x. On the bottom we have 9x squared We have 27 plus 30, so that's 57x, and then we have a plus 90 here, and that's equal to 1/6. Okay, so again here we just have a fraction equal to a fraction, so we can multiply the top by the bottom, bottom by the top. So 6 times 2x squared, that's 12x squared. 10x times 6, that's 60x. That's just going to be equal to 9x squared plus 57x plus 90. Let's just simplify this then. We got 12x squared. This is a quadratic, so I'm going to bring everything over to one side. So bring the 9x squared over here. Subtract 9x squared from both sides. You get 3x squared. You got 60x minus the 57x, so that's plus 3x. And then you've got minus 90 here. Well, you can see here this is working out nice and neatly. We can divide across by 3. So you got x squared plus x minus 30, that's equal to 0. And what we can do now is just work out what x is here. So we've got x times x. We have 30 here, so we have 1 times 30, 2 15s. We've got 3 times 10. We've got 5 times 6. 5 times 6 is going to work here because remember we need a 1 here, so it's going to be 6 times 5. We need a minus 30, so the two signs have to be different. The largest one has to be plus, and this is minus here. So that will give me then x is equal to minus 6 or 5. Now what is x? Well, x, if we go right back to the top here again, x is the number of German children. So clearly here x can't be minus 6. We're not going to have minus 6 children. So the number, I'll just write it in here, the number of German children is equal to 5. So that would give us then, I can rewrite what I wrote initially. We have German, we have Irish, and we have Spanish. We were told that there were 10 Spanish children. We now know that there are 5 German, and there are twice as many Irish as German children, so that would give us 10. So we've got 5, 10, 10. That means the total number, what were we actually asked? I'll just read the question again. It was to find how many children are in the club. So that would just simply mean then that the total number of children in the club is equal to 25. Now you could just double check that if you wanted to. Again, you're not required to do this, but if you have time you could. By reading that sentence again, it says the probability that the first child is German, that's going to be 5 over 25. That's 5 over the total number. And means you multiply. The second child is not German, so that's going to be 20 over 24. There are only 24 children left at this stage. Should be equal to 1/6. And when you work that out, you will find that works. You do get 1/6 equal to 1/6. Okay, so that's it for this particular question.